In Florida, the controversial Don't Say Gay bill is now on to the state Senate.
I do want to ask you about Florida's Don't Say Gay bill.
Okay, you've been very outspoken about Florida's Don't Say Gay bill. You called it hateful.
More than 600 LGBTQ and allied students rallied today to speak out against Florida's so-called Don't Say Gay bill.
Well, if Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signs the state's Don't Say Gay bill, the law would soon take effect this summer, in fact.
So this has been a small portion of the reaction to the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida. The only issue is no bill actually exists. Let me explain. So I'm sure many of you have seen on Twitter or in the news that a bill that the media has liked to call the quote Don't Say Gay bill has recently passed in Florida, causing the left to just absolutely lose it. From politicians, the students, even Luke Skywalker, they've been going out of their way to post as much as they can to make a point that they will continue to say gay no matter what. Which, of course, they're kind of free to do since the bill doesn't really stop anyone from saying the word gay. In fact, there's nothing in the bill at all that prevents anyone in the LGBT community from expressing themselves any way they frankly feel fit. News report after news report, article after article, the media has gone out of their way, in my opinion, to intentionally lie about what is actually in the bill. Funny thing is, I've yet to see a single fact check on any of these outlets for their blatant misinformation campaign. I wonder why that is. But here's the thing, you don't have to take my word for any of this, all right? This bill is available to the public, and it's only 7 pages, so it's a really quick read at that. What we'll be doing, though, in this video is we'll be going over and really breaking down 3 main portions of the bill, and talking, of course, about why it is such great news that this bill has officially been passed. So after the basic introduction, the bill actually starts off really strong, with lines 67 through 78 putting into law the right of parents to actually be informed about major issues that their children might be facing in the school system. It states, in accordance with the rights of parents enumerated in subsection 1002.20 and 1014.04, adopt procedures for notifying a student's parent if there is any change in the student's services or monitoring related to the student's mental, emotional, or physical health or well-being, and the school's ability to provide a safe and supportive learning environment for the students. So let's stop right there real quick. All this first section of the bill is actually really saying is that if your kid is having any major issues involving any emotional, mental, or physical problems, it is incumbent upon the school to inform you, the parent, of said issues. So if your kid's showing any major signs of depression, or maybe you're just getting picked on a lot and having kind of like a mental breakdown, or let's keep it simple here, what if they just fell down and got hurt? All this is just saying is that the school needs to reach out to the parents to, of course, let you know about any issues that your kid might be facing, whether it be physical, mental, emotional, you get the drift, right? Very simple, very straightforward. Now the bill then continues on to say, the procedure must reinforce the fundamental right of parents to make decisions regarding the upbringing and control of their children by requiring school district personnel to encourage a student to discuss issues relating to his or her well-being with his or her parent, or to facilitate discussion of the issue with the parent. It then continues on to lines 88 through 91. School district personnel may not discourage or prohibit parental notification of an involvement in critical decisions affecting the student's mental, emotional, or physical health or well-being. So here's the deal. All this portion of the bill is really saying is that the school has to encourage the kid to reach out to their parents. They can't be discouraging kids from reaching out to their parents. They have to encourage them to, of course, talk about the issues that they're facing, whether it be mental, emotional, or physical, with their parents. Notice the bill says nothing about being gay. And that's because at its core, this bill is primarily about helping out kids who might be dealing with things like depression, which we know is, of course, sharply on the rise throughout the entire country. It also prevents the school from hiding things that might have, been happening to the student. Let's take that Loudoun County example, where the young girl was assaulted by the boy wearing a dress in the girl's bathroom, and the school tried to cover it up the best they could. They tried to discourage anyone from talking about it. By this bill, that would be terribly illegal, which would be fantastic, because what it does is it helps prevent corrupt schools from hiding incidences that happen to their students. But opponents of the bill have actually apparently claimed that this portion of the bill would actually force schools to out gay children who are having emotional or mental problems to their parents against the child's will, which could result in, of course, parents becoming abusive to their children. Now, let's ignore the fact that even parents who have strong disagreements with the LGBT community still love their children typically, and most of them would never abuse their child no matter what their child did. But let's just ignore that for a short moment and just pretend that what they're saying is true. That kids, if they were outed as being gay to their parents, would face abuse from their parents. Fortunately, lines 91 through 96 has something to actually say about that. This subparagraph does not prohibit a school district from adopting procedures that permit school personnel to withhold such information from a parent if a reasonably prudent person would believe that the disclosure would result in abuse, abandonment, or neglect. Well, I say that pretty much clears that up. So pretty much all it's really saying is that, if there's a reasonable threat of abuse, the school does not have to report it. So if the kid goes up and says, I'm terrified of the day my parents find out. I'm not sure what they'll do. I'm scared they're going to become abusive, or they're just going to abandon me after they find out. Then the teacher, guidance counselor, principal, or any school administrator, they're under no obligation then to tell the parents, because a reasonable person could presume that if they did tell the parents, the kid might either go through abuse, neglect, or abandonment. So no, it's simply not true that gay children will be outed to abusive parents thanks to this bill. This is just simply a talking point by the media, by either people who have A, never read the bill, in which case they're just lying just because they want to get their reports out the door basically, or B, by people who have read the bill yet still are just intent on telling that lie. But let's move on to a second part of the bill that the media has really decided to latch onto. So for a long time, there's been this debate if and when schools should introduce sex ed to children. Some people, of course, arguing that, this is a type of conversation that needs to be happening between parents and children, not a random person working for the state and a child. While others are arguing as part of a complete curriculum, students should actually understand how their body works biologically speaking in regards to sex and puberty. Now, on a personal note, I am huge for homeschooling your children. Really, I think parents should be very heavily involved in the education of their children. However, I'm not totally against the idea of a sex ed class being part of a public school curriculum so long as they stuck to the science, to the biology, instead of going with the social science around sex that many of them currently do. And even if you disagree with me on that, the one thing I think we can agree on is probably around kindergarten to third grade, that's probably a little too early for these kind of classes to be taking place. And the second part of the bill pretty much addresses just that. Lines 97 through 101 states, classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3, or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with state standards. So basically it just outlaws sex ed for kindergarten through third grade. Now the media is claiming that this will prevent any conversations with kids about sex and gender. However, the bill only limits classroom discussions on these topics. Classroom discussions, which means, as the bill is currently written, teachers can still have one-on-one conversations with kids talking about stuff like sexual orientation or sexual or gender identity, which is frankly why many people, including myself, have said this bill does not go far enough. This only prevents them from putting it in the curriculum itself into a full classroom discussion. But what if the school does it anyway? What if the school ignores every aspect of the bill because they just really cannot stand this bill that much? What tools do parents have to hold these schools accountable for what they're doing with these kids? Well, that actually brings us to point number 3. The last portion of this bill goes into great detail about the school's obligation to create a system so that the concerns of parents can actually be addressed. And of course, what parents' options are if they feel it has been insufficient or just poorly handled in general. Now, this video is getting a little long, so I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but let me just show you lines 129 through 134. If a concern is not resolved by the school district, a parent may request the Commissioner of Education to appoint a special magistrate who is a member of the Florida bar in good standing and who has at least 5 years experience in administrative law. Now again, the bill goes into great detail about the entire process. So if you're interested in that, there is a link in the description to the bill itself for you to read. I mostly just wanted to show you this so you know there is actually a process for parents to hold these schools accountable should they go against what is in this bill. So now that you see what the media has been saying is just an absolute lie, and now that you've also seen a little bit of what the bill actually has in it, what do you think of the Florida bill? Leave in the comments below. I personally don't think it goes far enough, but it is at least an adequate first step to help preserving the rights of parents to their children. Either way, can't wait to hear from all of y'all in the comment section below, as well as, of course, if you've enjoyed this video, hey, please leave a like. It really does go a long way. So please leave a like on the video if you have enjoyed it. And if you want to see more content like this, please also, of course, think about subscribing as well. So, thank you so much for watching. And, of course, we'll be talking again real soon.